Welcome to the BTA Podcast. BTA, the voice of business travel.
Hi everybody, it's me, Clive Ratton, and it's time for another episode of the BTA Pulse where I get to chat with
Andrew Clark.
So this is the podcast where Andrew and I chat about everything business travel. Frankly, it is the only podcast you need to listen to if you want to know what's going on in the world of business travel and beyond. So we've had, as always, quite a lot going on in the BTA and lots of stuff really fighting for members as well. So I know I'd probably like to kick off. Hotel levy has been a subject we've been chatting about this week, and it's one that you're looking after and fighting for our members and their customers. So what's the kind of latest update?
Latest news on the ground. Yeah, this overnight visitor levy is growing arms and legs. The conversations are expanding, and we've been very lucky because it's not only ourselves fighting for this cause, it's other associations that we're working with. As you know, our friends at ITM, our friends at GBTA have jumped in, and also our friends at Beam have also joined the conversation and consultation response that we put in. So I think where we are at the moment, it started to be debated in Westminster. I think we got some information over the last few days to say that is the case. And I think what we're hearing is that, it's a cross party and there's still a split in terms of, wanting it and not wanting it. And that's good for us in a way, because it allows us then hopefully to get our conversation in and debate the challenge that we think this would bring. And I think, all along we're sticking with our strong sort of view on this, that business travel must be exempt from any visitor levy that's put in place if it comes in at all. Other associations have also put their cases across. We speak to UK Hospitality, we speak to UK Inbound, and those organisations, they're also pushing back against this. So it's really important that as one voice from an industry perspective, we're singing from the same hymn sheet, but I think we have a little card up our sleeve with the business travel element of it, because, all the MPs and everybody in and around the Westminster halls all travel on business, and they all travel around the UK. So the cost burden on the sector, the cost burden on the economic cost for corporate businesses, if this was to come in, is quite significant and huge. So we'll continue to do that. And I think over the next week, we'll start to reach out to those MPs that are part of this debate and conversation, and certainly the local metro mayors, where some of the key levies are already in place in those cities.
Yeah. I think it's important just to share with members and partners the stuff that we do in the background, and you putting all of these papers together. And as you said, you'll be writing to all the MPs that engage in the debate, and that's good because that shows they're interested because they turned up to the debate. So it's always worth hitting them. But, the government is putting it through legislation that it is going out to the mayors to make their own decisions. So, we will now move on to that next stage, as you say, talk to those mayors. And, I kind of saw some of the discussion that was going on. I don't think business travel was mentioned once in this. It's all about visitors. And it's so important that we hit hard the message home that it's not.
Yeah, you're right. And I think, we face that conversation with most things that we challenge government about, isn't it? Day in, day out.
But it is changing. We are getting the message through. But
it is. Absolutely, it is. You're right. And I think, over the last sort of month or so since we've put the consultation in, we've had snippets that have popped up in the local news. We've had the ability to do some interviews with the press and various other organisations. And what's good about it is that we're getting people not from the industry supporting it and liking our posts and following our posts. So it means that there is a swell of support for our stance on this, and not just our stance, but other associations' stance as well. And I think we just have to keep fighting the good fight and keep pushing that message across until the government hopefully sees sense, but certainly come to, if it does come to a conclusion and we do have some visitor levy put in, I think the key thing for us is that goes the way of a charge per night rather than the percentage charge that is being highly talked about, and certainly we know in Scotland has started to be implemented, which would be a complete nightmare for our business travel community.
Yeah. And I think that people maybe don't realise what lobbying is about. It's a long game. and you have to chip away, and you have to keep saying, and you have to accept that the levy will come in, but it's about how you fight to get it in a format that you want. I mean, clearly we'd like it not to come in, but you have to be realistic. We know it will come in, and this is what we do. And data-led professional responses, and keep chipping away until we get some kind of feedback and response. And every victory is a small one. So I know when people go, well, what does the BTA do? Well, it takes a lot of time and effort and work to keep finding those messages, getting the data, sending the messages in, having the conversations with MPs. But we won't ever give up, because it will impact our members and their customers, because it will take money out of travel budgets, which flows right down the system. There's less money to spend, less business to be won, and doing the business in the UK becomes increasingly expensive. Which
exactly
brings us on to the next subject.
Well, just before you move on, Clive, it's perfectly timed that all this activity around the UK visitor levy. We've got our meetings, accommodation, and events conference coming up on the 16th of April, and as well as that topic of conversation, we've got other things that certainly our members and our hotel partners are extremely interested in. There's been a lot of noise around hotel safety recently in the press, and we've been speaking to our hoteliers and our hotel partners to get involved in this conversation, which they are more than happy to do. We talk about contract versus delivery, really important side, especially when you're doing these big events. And we look at some of the trends and forecasting. We'll look at rate loading. So everything that we're doing in that event on the 16th of April, it's at the Cumberland Hotel in London. It's all around it being interactive and having real good, honest and open discussions with our suppliers, with our OBTs, with our tech providers, and with our hotels and TMCs. So if you're a member, if you're a partner, then please come and join us. And it's in conjunction with Beam. So anyone that's listening that is part of Beam can also come along and take part. And we've got some great speakers lined up, all finalized yesterday. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I think we've got some great sessions that will have people being a bit more educated about what's going on in the industry, but also hopefully walking away with a few things they can take back into their day-to-day roles and speak to their clients about.
Yeah, I think it's important just to mention that anybody can come along with this, even just to learn and hear about what's going on in the industry. If you're an account manager or frontline staff member and you can get along, it's vital, because it can only help your customers at the end of the day. So don't feel like you have to come along and contribute in the sense of speaking. Come along and listen and learn and network as well with your colleagues. So a good event coming up, and a great location as well. I like the Cumberland, very nice hotel in London, centrally located. So we said, what else are we talking about? And 1st of April is around the corner, April Fool's Day. So I'm sure
April, unbelievable. Who chose that day, Clive? Who chose that day?
Well, I wonder. But APD goes up on the 1st of April, which was agreed some time ago. And we have just raised the point again, just as to the impact and the cost of flying out of the UK, or in fact, doing any business in the UK, following on top of the levy. So we've done a little bit of a campaign around that. We pretty much know, and somebody said to me, well, there's no point, it's not going to get removed. No, we know it's not going to get removed, right? But we have to keep raising it. We have to keep profiling it. We have to ask for change. Things, big bugbear of mine, premium economy, paying the business class. That's ridiculous. There's a clear case of government not understanding business travel and just seeing it as a tax grab. We need to, lobby to have that move back to the lower rate, which I think is absolutely right, and I'm sure most travellers would do. So there are things like that. We have to keep raising it, because if we don't raise it, it will keep going up, and it will keep going up and keep going up, frankly. So if you support that, do kind of comment on our posts and like it. It isn't a short game, as we've said before. It is a long game, and much of it is about just trying to stop further increases as much as anything else.
But also, Clive, what I do enjoy about when we put things like this out and we go out with our comments in the press and various other things, I actually like people to come back and oppose what we're saying.
Of course.
Tell us why. Give us a reason. Give us your thoughts, and allow us to have an open conversation. I think that's what we're all about. We enjoy discussion. We enjoy debate. We enjoy listening to other people's views on things. But ultimately, our objective as an association is to drive improvements within the industry and make it accessible for people to travel without barriers. And that's ultimately what we're trying to do.
Absolutely. We're not saying we're always right. It's not the view of the BTA. It is the view of our members, by the way.
Yep.
And that's what we're here to do, is represent the collective view. And that's what we put out. And often that is fed through from their customers as well, because that's naturally what we're here to look after, is service our customers. So, yeah, that one is one that's just really, it's a bit of a strange anniversary, if you like, the 1st of April, where everything goes up. And it is, cheesy, but it's no joke. It is going up from there. And then that leads us on to what else have we been up to? And interestingly, there has been a third big subject of the last week or so on top of levy and APD, which has been the changes coming into the National Rail conditions of carriage.
Also on the 1st of April.
Also on the 1st of April.
Yeah.
It does seem like they're playing with us a little bit, doesn't it? But maybe it is all a big joke and it's not going to happen. But sadly, it does appear that it is. And this is the government, and let's be honest, it's Treasury driven through DfT to try and curb the £400 million of fraud that occurs on our railway each year by changing the refund rules on walk-up tickets, which has some impact that I don't think they even expected or thought about, which is a huge impact to the business travel market. And the good news is we have a very good relationship with RDG we built over the years. So we're in negotiations with them to try and change, or at least extend, the rules as they stand at the moment for a little bit longer, because there is a huge impact to our members and their customers, which we've basically got about 3 weeks notice to fix, which is frankly outrageous.
Yeah, and we have got the 28-day extension for all our members, which is good news, because that just gives a little bit more time for open discussion rather than having.
Well, it's okay news.
Yeah,
it's not good news. Good news is an extension for a year, right? But
well, good news is any form of extension, but it's okay news because we're not on the 1 April cutoff, so that just gives a little bit more time to keep the discussions going.
Yeah. So again, if you want information on that, do check out our social feeds or get in contact with us. We are fighting for our members on that one, because this has a significant impact on our TMCs in terms of workload, why am I keep saying woke processes and everything else. So yeah, that's a big topic for us, where we hope to get some good resolution over the coming weeks. So yeah, that's what we've been doing in the background. And then, of course, over on top of all that, we still have the terrible situation going on in the Middle East, which is impacting us. I don't know if you've spoken to many members, but it seems like it's kind of settled down in terms of evacuation and getting people out and back. I think now it's just about what is going to happen in the longer term when you take out a lot of that Middle East connectivity, and obviously as a destination too.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the biggest challenge is the further afield destinations that had to go via the Middle East. It's finding flights and accessibility to those destinations, which is proving difficult and more costly because of the situation. Yeah. But I think certainly for those businesses that have a lot of, continuous journeys in and out of Europe, there's no impact on them. We're still seeing those volumes remain steady. Certainly we have a lot of our members that have a very domestic volume of business travel. Again, no impact there. So it's that further afield where the Middle East would be a hub, a change of aircraft, or certainly a flying path on the aircraft. So. That's the challenges that we've got. But you're right. I think most of our business travel community now are back and safe and in the relevant places to just continue to try and drive business volumes.
Absolutely. And yeah, it's going to be continuous difficult, but as we've said on this podcast before, our members are used to these kind of situations. You're never quite sure. Everyone is different, but the core, how we have to respond remains the same. And it's just really a question of how long this goes on for and moves on. But we keep our fingers crossed, and I know our members do a fabulous job in looking after their customers and getting them in and out of where they need to go, and they will continue to do that. So just as we come towards the end, I think we've had a couple of new partners join the BTA. I don't think we've mentioned before that is good news. The community continues to grow. You've got a couple of those that I've seen have joined us recently.
We have, yes. Yeah, I think, again, going back to a lot of the stuff we've been talking today, it's around driving the right conversations and listening to what our members are looking for. In fact, we've just got a survey out at the moment to our partners that is really sort of asking them their opinions as well, because we hear from members a lot. Ultimately, that's what kind of drives our activity, but it's also good now and again to reach into our partners and make sure we're aligned with what our objectives are, and also they're on board with it, right? Because they, they feel they will feel the need to also play a part in that and drive some of the conversations and help with some of the information. So we've had Embers join us recently. We've had Travel Fusion join us recently. And both of those are well known to the TMC community. We've had eHotel just join us, and we've had Pliant join us as well. So, people are wanting to be part of the conversation. Our partners are now looking to us to help drive conversations with our members, conversations that help improve processes, efficiencies, lots of talk around AI, card payments, and various other topics in the industry. So the more partners that want to come and be part of the conversation, we're more than happy to have the conversation with them.
Yeah, excellent. And welcome to all of those. I look forward to meeting them all very soon. So there we are. We're at the end of the podcast. We've talked about quite a lot of real big issues that are happening in the industry and what the BTA is doing on a day-to-day basis to fight and for our community and our sector. And we're heading into Easter, which means it is a bit of a quieter period, as it always is, a couple of 4-day weeks. Nobody ever shuns those. That's an excitement, which means we don't have too many events coming up. I think the next one is the accommodation one you were talking about earlier. So it gives us time to focus on things like the levy and the rail industry issues that we're facing to get done. And
couple of podcasts to look out for. We like to do them. We've got our Gen BTA Live, which is at the end of April. So for those that are interested in that, that's up in Manchester. So as we always say, go to the website. Our events page is up to date. The registration links are open, and if you want to, as Clive said, if you want to come along, listen in, educate yourself, be part of the conversation, it's totally up to you. But join in. That's the kind of key message that we push out to our membership.
Yeah, that's very true. Please do come along. And also, just a quick plug, as we'll do on every podcast, our autumn conference to take place in September down in sunny Spain. Registration is open.
Yeah.
You and I, we're not sharing too much at the moment, but we've agreed the content, I think, pretty much. We've got some speakers lined up and we'll start announcing them, but just do get on there. And if you have a place as part of your membership or partnership, which you do, make sure you register. If you don't, we have some fantastic early bird offers on there for additional places. And we'll be revealing more about what we've got planned over the coming weeks. So do look out for that. In the meantime, I guess it's time to wish you a fabulous weekend and Easter, because we won't do another podcast until post-Easter, I think it is. And we'll be back very soon to catch up. So thanks for listening. Thanks for your support. And it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.